What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in. What a beautiful day to rant about some stocks. And in this video, we're going to rant about Tesla. We're going to talk about my future predictions for the company. We're going to talk about how I am handling this negative 32% year-to-date environment, and then also some recent news developments on the stock. To start, if you've been holding Tesla for the past 3 to 4 months like myself, it has been an absolute bloodbath. We have been getting dragged through the mud, my friend, and it is not fun. 32% year to date. We are having nothing but poor sentiment in the market. We're having bear flag break left and right. We're having rejections at support turn to resistance. The list goes on. Just this past Tuesday, we had another bear flag break, a drop from 175 to 163 at the low. And that was due to Tesla's delivery numbers. So 432,000 was the consensus on Wall Street. Tesla came out and reported 386,000, a miss of 15%. Not good, but the good news for us Tesla holders is that the company is not just deployed into electric vehicles. In their quarter one report, they also said, we deployed 4,053 megawatt hours of energy storage products in quarter one, the highest quarterly deployment yet. Along with that, today we also got some news from Elon. Responding to a tweet from Whole Mars Catalog, he said, and we will license the tech to other car companies. So what does this quote mean right here? Other car companies like Ford, GM, Toyota, those companies are going to need to reform to the requirements that the EPA put into place for internal combustion engine vehicles. Those vehicles that emit carbon emissions are now going to be taxed and have a fee of a 60% increase of whatever it previously was. I don't work in those companies, so I don't know what the exact number was. I just know the percent. So those companies that produce electric internal combustion engines, those companies are going to need to pay more, which means the vehicle is going to cost more. The only way that those companies are going to be able to keep up with that business model is if they start producing electric vehicles which are not going to be taxed or feed. So Elon is taking this opportunity to say, for those electric vehicles that these companies are going to have to produce, we are going to license full self-driving to them. Full self-driving right now is a $12,000 package, $200 a month until that until that $12,000 is paid off, Those licenses are probably going to be sold to Ford, Toyota, GM, those companies for $16,000. Tesla will just pocket the $4,000, and then they'll also pocket part of the $12,000 profit. What's going to happen here is that Tesla's going to get a surge of buyers because if we're forward-thinking investors like we are, we know that this is going to be a massive profit for Tesla. Tesla wastes no money producing full self-driving because it's something that they've worked on for the past 12 years with their electric vehicles deployed on the roads. Those electric vehicles have logged data for full self-driving. They have hours and hours and hours of data that's collected. They know pretty much every traffic intersection, traffic event that's going to happen. Other companies do not have access to that, so they're going to need to license that from Tesla. The next thing that we're focusing on here is the fear-greed index. So if you're familiar with the fear-greed index, great. If you're not, I'm going to explain it real quick. The fear-greed index essentially describes how the market is trading. When people are greedy, they are willing to pay more than what the stock is currently worth. When people are fearful, they are willing to sell the stock for less than what it's worth. So right now, Tesla is trading at fear. What that means is that Tesla is essentially a $200 stock that's trading at 168 because people are scared of what the stock price is going to do. They're scared of what the future holds for the company. They don't like Elon. They don't like this. They don't like that. They're scared of the stock, so they're selling it for less than what it's worth. When people are greedy, like they were in, let's say, 2019 on Tesla, or let's just go back to 2023. When people are greedy, they're willing to pay an abundance of what the stock is worth. So they're willing to pay more than what the stock is worth. If Tesla was a $200 stock in 2023, people were paying excess of $90 over what that valuation was just because everyone was talking about Tesla. They wanted a piece of the cake. Now they're reaping what they sow. So what we're looking at here My future predictions for Tesla, although we're trading in fear on it right now, the market's trading at greed, Tesla's trading at fear. Because we're trading at fear on Tesla, just a flat movement with no news for, let's say, 3 months, that will put the stock back to what it should be worth, which I believe is $200 just at the end of this year. Longer term, I think the company is probably a $350 to $400 stock. But for the short term, let's focus on the next 6 to 8 months. I think the company is going to edge its way back up to that $200 mark. So I would like to see first a recovery back up to 181 to 182, and then a further recovery back up to that 205, 206 level. News on Tesla. If you've just been looking on your phone, if you've been talking to people that you know that trade stocks, news has been absolutely terrible. Not much you can do about that. Reuters, Bloomberg, Yahoo Finance, all putting out terrible articles on Tesla saying Tesla is the worst performing stock in the S&P 500. Tesla is the worst performing stock of the Mag 7. This is just further promoting the fear in the stock. That's why the stock is being sold off more than it should be. How do you handle this negative 32% year to date, though? How do you handle a stock dropping that you see long-term fortune in, but short-term ideology has the stock dropping? You need to sell options on that stock. In this example, what I did in preparation for this news event, I knew that we were going to most likely miss on Q1 deliveries. In preparation for that, I sold 9 at the money covered calls. The first lot was the week before. Right here when we tapped 182 on Tesla, I sold a lot of 9 185 covered calls for 445. I bought those back for 124 a piece. I made $321, $321 per contract, totaling a $3,000 gain. And then I did the same thing with the 177.5 calls, sold them at 330, bought them back at 63 after we missed delivery numbers this week, realizing $2,448. So even though my shares depreciated $8,000 over the past week, we went from 181 to now 168. Even though they depreciated $8,000, I managed to capitalize on $5,000 from selling options. I became the house. I sold options to people that were willing to play upside or downside into the news event. I was at no risk because I owned the shares, but the people that bought the options, if they held the call that I sold them for 445, they held it down to 124. That $300 that they lost is now my $300 profit. Time. Regarding the theta decay, that is what's on my side, as well as the news events. You need to learn how to sell options, and I'm actually going to do a video on this coming up either this week or into next week. I will do a video on how to sell options, how to wheel options. That is the main strategy I do right here, the wheel. But that will conclude this. If you guys have any requirements or any feedback for me, that would be much appreciated. This is my first YouTube video, and I expect to release more afterwards. Drop a comment, drop a like, drop a subscription if you would like to, but please leave any feedback in the comments below, and I will make sure to adjust that going to my next video. Have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys next time.